So my dad would take these movie films, these 16mm movies.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
And he had, and I don't know who has them now. I'm guessing Jeannie might. I had asked her for them once so that I could put them on a DVD for everyone, but I never received them. But we sat down one night. I got a projector and we looked through all of them with Dad. And there was A Christmas at the Farm with Grandpa and Grandma, who I never met. And I think you were there and a few others. And then there was films at, it must have either been at the park in Sharon or in Cooperstown, with all of the Jensens, and I was just a baby.
That was in Sharon.
Was it in Sharon?
Yeah.
What was that all about?
Well, that was like a family reunion. It was at Marion and Martin's, and they had a nice big backyard.
Okay.
So it wasn't a park.
Oh, okay.
And so everybody was there, except my husband. And yeah, you were little. I don't think Bruce was born.
I think my mother was pregnant in those films.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Henry and Dad, but of course their wives weren't there. Our grandmother wasn't there. Yeah, that was fun.
I remember as a little kid we'd go to Red Willow because the Jensens had a cabin.
Yeah.
And they never would let me play out on the dock, but the other boys, you know, the younger ones would, and they're all older than Bruce and I.
You probably didn't know how to swim.
No, we were just little kids, but of course when you're little you don't realize that. And they'd climb out on the bars and over the water. And so.
Good memories. Well, the year after I graduated from high school, Ardis and I went to Chicago, and we stayed with Dottie because Larry was out at the Great Lakes Naval Station.
Oh, okay.
And he would just get in weekends or something. So we stayed with Dottie in her apartment. That was so exciting.
I'll bet.
So, and then he evidently came full-time back to stay, so that Ardis and I got a room. So I remember that we rented a room, and I worked at the hospital where Dottie worked.
Really?
I was in the children's hospital where Dottie worked, and Ardis worked in a defense plant. And I remember she bought a bicycle, and she rode out there on her bicycle. And, but we had Dottie was such a supportive sister. She was just great.
I remember you told me when you were in Chicago, I never knew why you were there, now I know, that the men with the wagons with all of the...
Oh, in the morning, early morning, they'd yell out, "Rags," and I don't know what else, but with their horses, they would drive through the streets, and yeah.
Interesting. When my friend Danielle and I went to Chicago, we stayed at it was called the Congress Hotel. It was an old hotel. They actually had a chair in there that Calvin Coolidge had used when he would come to stay there. And it was right on the edge where it went from where you'd probably be okay to where you probably shouldn't go in the south end of Chicago. But I remember that my folks said they had lived in the south end of Chicago before it got bad. And one night we drove down into that part of town and found out real quick why you don't really drive around.
I don't even know where that hospital is anymore. The Bob Roberts, I think it was Bob Roberts Hospital. Yeah. University of Chicago Hospital. I was in the children's part. Okay. And Dottie worked in another part. So, yeah, that was quite an experience. That was really neat. And then I earned some money, so I got clothes to go to college.
Oh my gosh. Where did you go to college?
NDSU, North Dakota
you did?
State.
Okay. Did you graduate from NDSU then?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I went there for 1 year.
Oh, did you?
Yes, my first year of college. Well, I went for a half a year at Devils Lake Junior College.
Oh, that's right.
Which is something different now. I think it's called different. And then I went for a whole year at NDSU. And it was right when the time Reagan took office and the economy went bad, so then I couldn't afford to go anymore for a while.
But you were married at that time.
Yes.
So you didn't live on campus, probably.
We lived on 12th Avenue North and I believe it was 10th Street. We were 3 blocks from campus in a big old duplex.
Okay.
And I would walk to school the 3 blocks, which was great. But in the wintertime, that winter was especially harsh. And I remember I would put on several layers, and I would walk. I had one of those Air Force parkas where you could zoom down the hood to a little snorkel. And I would get 2 blocks, and I would be so cold that I would stop at the little convenience store at the 2-block mark, and I'd go in there and goof around until I warmed up a little, and then I'd walk the final block, and that final block was not comfortable. And yeah.
What did you take?
Architecture. I was majoring. And I honestly wish I would have graduated eventually in architecture, but I graduated with an engineering degree instead.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun year there in Fargo. It was a different city then. I was talking to some people this morning in Sibley, and I was saying that West Acres at the time was the far edge of Fargo, and then if you went about a half a mile, there was this brand new silver Blue Cross building out in the middle of Holstein cows and fields. And now it's just a part of the city.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's changed so. And of course, from the time I went to college till the time you went, and it changed a lot. I stayed in the dorm for 4 years. I just loved my 4 years of college. It was so much fun. Of course, it was right after the war, so I had experiences that I had never had before. We went to dances, and then I've had really good friends that are still friends. Well, 2 of them have died, but Bev and I are still friends. So, yeah.
What year did you graduate from college?
In 49.
Okay.
Long before you were born.
Yeah. In home economics?
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you start teaching after you?
Well, I taught for 1 year at Portland, North Dakota.
Okay.
And then I got married and moved east, and I lived in the east for 15 years.
What part of New Jersey did you live in?
Well, Clinton, which is not far from Easton, it's the western part of New Jersey.
Okay. Yeah, I was out in Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'd go to the shore every summer, but it was more, I think, Point Pleasant, maybe.
Okay. Interesting. And Kent was just through here, and you said that you had talked about the year that he came out and visited you.
Yeah, and one time we went to the shore with Kent.
Oh.
Mary Freeman and I guess the girls were whatever they were doing. So Kent and Mary and I we put our blanket down and our coolers and stuff. And the next, over close by, there was this really cute girl with her parents on a blanket and enjoying the sun. So we talked Kent into going over to ask her if she'd want to have a Coke with him or something, because there was a refreshment stand nearby. So finally, he didn't want to do it. We talked him into it, and he went over and he asked her, and her parents wouldn't let her go with him.
Oh, goodness.
I couldn't believe it. Kent was so cute, and this girl was so cute. But anyway, one of our memories.
Yeah. Had she gone with him, it may have been a whole different history.
Who knows? Yeah, they might have had a date or... Sure. But her parents were very protective. And Mary and I thought we were such, stable-looking, respectable people. How could they refuse?
Yeah. So then you came back to North Dakota. When did you and Helmut meet?
Well, I've been teaching. It was my second year of teaching. And Helmut's wife had died.
In 65.
Yeah, so a couple years before.
Okay.
So we met at school.
What school were you teaching at?
At the high school.
Jamestown.
Jamestown High School.
Jamestown. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. I remember as a little kid, you had a house before this one here, I think, didn't you?
And you and Bruce came and stayed with us.
Yes, I remember.
You do?
It was wintertime, yes.
Yeah. Just down.
Just over,
the hill.
Not far away. And your folks went to Minnesota to visit some friends of theirs, some good friends of theirs.
Okay.
So Jeannie must have, I think Kent was maybe at the university, and Jeannie came too.
Oh, she did. Okay.
I think so, I think it was you and Bruce and Jeannie. Yeah, the three of you stayed with us for a weekend.
I remembered it was a real special trip because it was in the winter and there was just snow had started sprinkling white on the fields that were all, you know, brown.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so pretty. And then we got here and it was a different, because we'd never been apart from our parents before.
Mm-hmm.
But we were getting to stay at Aunt Joe's.
Yeah, that was fun. And we had a big fireplace. Do you remember that?
I remember we stayed in the basement, and I think it was the basement, and you had a long kind of a...
Well, we didn't have a basement. We just had one. We just had one floor. But we had a room, like a, what would you call it? That room in the back.
Wow.
We put our piano in there, and there was a heater and furniture, and the TV was in there.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I thought that was in the basement, but I guess
I think maybe you slept in sleeping bags.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so exciting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was fun, yeah.
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 So, when did you move into this house then?
Well, we've been here for 45 years,
67.
so...
Oh, my goodness.
67, yeah.
Been here a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Gone fast. We had 4 kids when we moved in here.
They were all here with you in this house?
Yeah, Debbie was a senior that year. Kathleen was a junior. Tim was in 8th grade and Barbara 7th.
Yep.
Oh my. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we had bedrooms for each of them.
Yeah. We had
Single.
5 bedrooms. We had 2 downstairs and then 2 up here.
Yep. 3 up here.
3 up here, yeah. Right.
Because of years, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have this on the back at the time, I don't
No.
think. Yeah.
And you all came to visit us. Do you remember that? All of you came from Oregon. And
was that in '69 when we? Yeah, we came in the GTO.
Yep.
I remember.
Mm-hmm.
That was more in the summertime. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, we came out to the farm.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we came here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that trip. What I remember about the trip, because we were just little kids at the time, well, Kent and Jeannie necessarily weren't, because I remember Kent drove part of the way.
Mm-hmm.
But we had just bought that brand new GTO, but back at that time, air conditioning was kind of a luxury, so that car did not have that.
Mm-hmm.
And Bruce and I, there were 6 of us in this GTO, plus a cat. And we had a box that Dad had built and tied to the roof for the cat.
Mm-hmm.
But it got so hot in Montana, we had to bring the cat in the car with us. And the seats were that black vinyl. And I can remember you wouldn't dare move, because if you did, the vinyl would burn where you weren't. And then you would go to stand up, and the seat would peel away, sticky peel away from your back. That was so hot. And all you had to cool off was the hot air blowing in the windows.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.